Hi, welcome back to Cheryl Trades LEAPS. Most traders think better results come from finding a better indicator. For LEAPS investors, I think the problem is usually different. You don't need another indicator. You don't need to predict exactly where a stock will trade next week, and you definitely don't need 20 things on your chart telling you different stories. What you need is a repeatable framework for answering one question. Does this stock deserve my capital right now, or not? For me, LEAPS trading becomes much simpler when I break every potential trade into 6 pillars: market context, business thesis, valuation, price action map, confirmation, option structure. 6 pillars in order, and the option come last. That's it. And when one of those pieces doesn't line up, I don't force the trade. Pillar 1, market context. Before I even look at the individual stock, I look at the market. Is the market helping me, neutral, or fighting against me? These questions are what I'm asking before I look at the stock. What's the Nasdaq doing? What's the S&P 500 doing? Are yields rising or falling? Is volatility expanding? Do we have CPI tomorrow? A Fed meeting next week? Major earnings coming? This matters even more with LEAPS because I'm using leverage. If the underlying stock falls 10%, my option may fall 20%, 30%, or more, depending on delta, volatility, and expiration. So before I buy anything, I check the market context and size my trades following the environment. I don't require perfect conditions, but I want to know what environment I'm entering. If everything is aligned, I can take normal size. If conditions are uncertain, I reduce my size. And sometimes the correct position size is 0. Pillar 1 takeaway. Even a fantastic company can get dragged lower when the entire market is de-risking. Market context doesn't decide the trade. It decides how much size the trade deserves. Pillar 2, the business thesis. This is where my LEAPS strategy becomes very different from short-term technical trading. I'm not buying a stock just because a candle looks good. If I'm buying an option that expires 1 or 2 years from now, I want a reason to believe the company itself can become more valuable during that period. I ask, what is going to drive this company's earnings higher? Is that revenue growth, AI adoption, cloud growth, margin expansion, a new product cycle, market share gains, a business turnaround? Whatever the thesis is, I want to be able to explain it in a few sentences, because if I can't explain why the business should be worth more 12 to 24 months from now, I probably shouldn't be buying a LEAPS call on it. Pillar 2, takeaway. A chart can tell me when to buy, but the business tells me why I'm willing to stay. This is the pillar that separates a LEAPS thesis from a short-term trade idea. Pillar 3, valuation. A great company can still be a terrible investment at the wrong price. This is one of the biggest mistakes people make with LEAPS. They find a company they love. The stock has already gone up 50%. Everybody on social media is bullish. Then they buy an expensive call because they believe the company will keep growing. Maybe it will, but growth alone doesn't determine your return. The price you pay matters. Before buying LEAPS, I want to know roughly what I believe the underlying stock is worth. I don't need a valuation down to the penny. I'm looking for a range. Maybe my estimated fair value is $180 to $200. If the stock is trading at $145, I become interested. If it's already trading at $230, I may love the company and still refuse to chase it. For LEAPS, I want the combination. Good company, plus reasonable valuation, plus favorable setup. Pillar 3. Takeaway. A good company isn't automatically a good trade. The price you pay matters. A good company plus a reasonable valuation, plus favorable setup. That's the combination LEAPS needs. Pillar 4. The price action map. Now I finally go to the chart, and I keep this part simple. I'm primarily looking at the daily and weekly charts. I want to know, where are the important support levels? Where is major resistance? Where did buyers previously step in? Where did sellers take control? Where is the 20-day, 50-day, and 200-day moving average? Is the stock trending, consolidating, breaking out, or a falling knife? The important point is this. Support isn't automatically a buy signal. It's a location where I start paying attention. If a stock I like falls toward major weekly support, I don't immediately say, "It's cheap, buy the dip." I say, "Interesting. Now show me what happens here." That's a huge difference. Pillar 4 takeaway. A level tells me where to watch. It does not tell me when to buy. Pillar 5. Confirmation. This may be the most important part of the entire system. Signals I look for before acting. Maybe the stock reaches support and forms a higher low. Maybe it loses support temporarily, then reclaims it. Maybe it breaks above resistance and successfully retests it. Maybe selling volume starts fading. Maybe momentum turns. Maybe the stock starts outperforming the broader market. I'm not trying to buy the exact bottom. In fact, trying to catch the exact bottom can be extremely expensive. I'd rather buy slightly higher after the probability improves. Imagine a stock falls from $200 to $150. Someone might say, "It's down 25%. This has to be the bottom." That's prediction. I would rather see $200, $180, $160, $150, then $155, $162, a pullback to $157, and buyers defend it. Now I have information. The market is beginning to show demand. Maybe I pay $160 instead of $150. I'm okay with that. Because my goal isn't to brag about catching the bottom. My goal is to make money while controlling risk. I would rather be early with small size and later with bigger size. Pillar 5. Takeaway. I don't want to predict the reversal. I want the market to start proving it to me. Confirmation is the pillar that turns a good thesis into a good entry. Pillar 6. The LEAPS structure. This is the part ordinary price action strategies completely miss. Even if I'm right about the stock, I can still choose the wrong option. 5 things I check on the option itself: expiration, delta, implied volatility, liquidity, and position size. First, expiration. I want enough time for my thesis to work. I'm generally looking far enough out that a temporary correction doesn't immediately destroy the trade. Second, delta. For my style, I generally prefer deeper in the money leaps with relatively high delta. I want the option to behave more like the stock. I'm not trying to buy a cheap lottery ticket. Third, implied volatility. A great stock at the wrong implied volatility can still be a bad option purchase. If volatility is extremely elevated, I may wait, especially around earnings. Fourth, the bid-ask spread and liquidity. I don't want to give away several $100s just getting into and out of the position. And finally, position size. LEAPS are leveraged. That's exactly why I like them. But leverage works both ways. I don't need 10 contracts simply because I can afford 10 contracts. Sometimes one high-quality LEAPS position is better than 5 oversized speculative positions. Pillar 6. Takeaway. I'm not trying to buy a cheap lottery ticket. I'm trying to own the stock's move on a contract I chose on purpose. My invalidation rule is different. This is another major difference between LEAPS and short-term trading. A swing trader might say, "If the stock closes below this support level, I'm out." I don't automatically treat LEAPS that way. I have 2 kinds of invalidation. Technical invalidation. Maybe the breakout fails. Maybe the stock loses support. Maybe the setup I entered on is no longer valid. That may cause me to reduce the position or stop adding. But then I ask a more important question. Thesis invalidation. Has something actually changed about the company? Did management cut guidance? Did the growth thesis break? Did the competitive situation deteriorate? Did valuation become unreasonable? Did the fundamental reason I bought the company disappear? That's much more important for a long-duration position. I don't want to panic out of an 18-month LEAPS contract because of 3 ugly trading days. But I also don't want to use the words, "I'm a long-term investor," as an excuse to hold a broken thesis forever. The difference is having the invalidation rules before the trade becomes emotional. Earnings require their own rule. This is especially important with options. A stock can report excellent earnings and still fall. Why? Because the market trades expectations. And with options, there's another variable: implied volatility. You can be directionally right and still lose money. That's why I usually don't want to open a large new LEAPS position immediately before earnings. If I already have substantial gains, I may trim. Then I can reassess after the report. Let the numbers come out. Let management speak. Let volatility reset. Let the market show its reaction. Then decide. Again, reaction over prediction. Putting the entire system together. So here's what my LEAPS process looks like. 1. Market. Is the broader environment supportive? 2. Business. Do I want to own exposure to this company for the next 1 to 2 years? 3. Valuation. Am I paying a reasonable price? 4. Map. Where are the major support and resistance levels? 5. Confirmation. Has price actually started behaving the way I need it to behave? 6. LEAPS. Is the expiration, strike, delta, IV, liquidity, and position size attractive? Only after those questions are answered do I buy. That's what makes the process simpler. Not easier. Not guaranteed. Simpler. The biggest change in my trading. The biggest improvement doesn't come from finding more trades. It comes from eliminating bad ones. You see a stock down 15%. Before, buy the dip. Now, why is it down? You see your favorite AI stock approaching support. Before, this is my opportunity. Now, has support actually held? A stock beats earnings and drops. Before, the market is stupid. I'm buying. Now, what expectation did the company fail to meet? A stock runs 25% in 3 weeks. Before, I'm missing it. Now, is the risk-reward still attractive? That change in thinking is enormous. You stop reacting emotionally to every move. The bottom line is, you don't need to predict the market. That's probably the biggest lesson. I don't need to know exactly where the NASDAQ will be 3 months from now. I don't need to predict the bottom. I don't need to predict the top. I don't need to know what the Federal Reserve will say before they say it. I need a process. If the market gives me the setup I want, I act. If it doesn't, I wait. And because I'm using LEAPS instead of short-dated options, time can become my advantage rather than my enemy. As long as I choose the right company, the right valuation, the right setup, and the right contract. That's the version of simple trading I believe in. Not buy because an indicator flashed green, but business, valuation, market, price, confirmation, structure. And when those pieces line up, that's when I want to put capital to work. When they don't, I do absolutely nothing. Because sometimes the best LEAPS trade is waiting for the trade that actually deserves your money. If this framework was useful, subscribe for more on LEAPS investing, risk management, market psychology, and technical analysis. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.